Hello there and welcome. What a pleasure to have some wonderful guests with us today. We have Lanfranco Marasu, Smart City Program Director. Hi there at Engineering, which is not only one of the FIWARE Foundation founding members, but also a platinum member here. Lanfranco, I'll give you a very short bio of Lanfranco. Lanfranco has had many high-level roles, including CIO and a CEO at many different companies at European and the national level. He has been involved in several EU programs and initiatives on software and services for the public sector, especially here at FIWARE Foundation, of which Lanfranco has been a very active member since day one. And here's something that you might not know about Lanfranco. I was very impressed. Is he's the president of the athletic stadium Villa Gentile in Genoa, Italy. The second guest is John Babiak. John is a project manager at Hopu, a gold member of the FIWARE Foundation. John was born in the UK. John was born not in the UK, in the US, but has been living in Spain since the early 90s. John is highly trained in sign language interpreter, has several years of experience with European issues, educational issues, and youth. And John, sorry for laughing, but I was really curious when I read this. Here's something that you might not associate with John is a huge fan of Disneyland and is actually a collector of very unique items from Disney. There you have it. Joe, this was the perfect icebreaker for this series, because it's really nice to hear something that is not on your LinkedIn, is not on your CV. So before we get down to business here, and we will start with Lanfranco today, my colleague here, Max, will give us a very short overview of the project that we'll be talking about today and how Hopu and engineering came together to work on this. So over to you, Max.
Thank you, Val. The project we are talking about today is called Proxymate, and it's a joint project of the FIWARE community members Hopu and Engineering, as you might have thought already. Proxymate aims to protect your community while the COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, with using a wearable device, a so-called token, to trace contacts of positive tested individuals anonymously. The tokens register the distance to other tokens inside your community, and once someone in your community gets tested positive for COVID-19, the information is shared with every token that has been in close contact to the token of the infected person in the immediate past. Hence, Proxymate takes over the labor-intensive task of contact tracing. Following this procedure, infected persons stay anonymous, but still every contact is informed about a possible infection. Proxymate is part of the EIT's Crisis Response Initiative and therefore directly contributes to the European Union's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you, Max. I think it was very interesting. And in terms of an ongoing pandemic, I think it's very refreshing to see an initiative that is tackling the issue from a very practical standpoint. Now, Lanfranco, over to you. Tell us, how did engineering came to work together with Hopu on this very specific project that Max has mentioned?
Okay, thank you, Val. Very glad to be here with all of you today. Well, let me start from my background. I used to be a runner, but now I can only manage an athletic stadium due to my age. But my last marathon...
Well, that's something. Come on.
I ran my last marathon in New York City in 2010. In those years, we were working on a number of projects, research projects. And I used to say this was the era of the research projects around FIWARE. And we met for the first time Hopu and as engineering, and we have been very active players during these first steps of FIWARE. with just research project. A few years later, we started to talk about the FIWARE Foundation. How can we capitalize the huge results of FIWARE and the outcomes and the products by FIWARE to push and to jump into the real market? And engineering OPU has been very active again. And as engineering, we were among the 4 co-founders of the FIWARE Foundation, but also OPU joined the FIWARE Foundation early on. So we started working together, not just on the project, but also in the FIWARE Foundation. And we started our cooperation with other research and innovation projects, including several EU initiatives, like, for example, the one we are talking about with EAT Digital. And with OPU, we have shared the management of almost every FIWARE event since the beginning of the story of FIWARE. FIWARE Summit, FIWARE Days, seminar, and a number of things. So we have a strong background, a common background together. And during the last year, this is very important, under the pressure of COVID-19, we start working together and we start having a strictly cooperation basically on 2 different streams. The first one related to business activities. We promote so-called Power by FIWARE COVID solution, for example, in Latin America and Spanish-speaking countries. But we also work on a very important strategic initiative co-funded by the European Union and EAT Digital, particularly, and we'll have 2 activities, and these activities could play an important role now, in the time where our countries are reopening. And one is related to the COVID pass to travel safely across Europe, which is named Go Safe, and the other one is the project that John will talk about later on during this fantastic event. So this is my brief introduction to our cooperation and background with OPU.
Well, it's great to hear about such a long-lasting relationship or cooperation inside the FIWARE community. Thanks for sharing. John, what have been the results of this promising project so far? What would you say?
Okay, well, thank you, Max, and thank you, Val, for giving us this opportunity to explain our project and the cooperation between engineering and HOPU, both members of the FIWARE community we have been working together in Project EU. First, I would like to say that Disney and FIWARE, I think they have 2 things similar, and they both connect people. It's universal, it's for everybody. So I'd like to start with this little task. Well, at this moment,
John, and it's very fun, right?
It is. We're always connecting people. Well, at this moment, more than 10,000 people are using the tokens, our famous Momo, in schools, high schools, universities, big companies, and sports stadiums, as Franco explained before, in Italy and in Spain. And with this test, with this pilot, we are validating that tokens are an ally to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And we have been testing and collecting data in real time of the operation of the tokens to check the good progress of the project. And thanks to these pilots that we have been carrying out in Italy and Spain at the same time, we can affirm so far that the tokens are not going to be in future an ally against COVID-19 because they already are. In their prototype phase, they are avoiding contagions as the users are being informed safely if they have been in contact with a positive case of COVID-19. Always anonymously and without personal data of the users, because that is one of the biggest benefits of Protect EU. It is 100% anonymously. With the eye on the completion of the pilots, over the corner we have really soon Momo 2.0, the continuity of the project to move from the pilot phase to deployment phase and introduce the product in the market. The fact we have made an European startup, Protect EU, where we are preparing the second part of the project that we will present to the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, EAT Digital, for its support and, of course, funding. Our goal is to be able to distribute the final product in Spain and Italy, and then continue its implementation to the European and North American market. The success of Protect EU lies in the fact that it's a replicable system with technology-based and international standards. And that way it can be expanded in the international market, given a solution to be used by all citizens, no matter what country, no matter what age. And to finish, another important benefit to highlight is that Protect EU doesn't have to be limited to COVID-19, because it can be adapted to any challenge that may come our way in the future. So we could be prepared for next issues of the European and international level.
Yeah. John, if I may, I know Max wants to pick it up, but if I may just ask you a very brief question. How does, especially for whoever is watching, doesn't know FIWARE so well, how does FIWARE come into the equation on this very specific initiative?
Well, the most important part is that FIWARE, as I said at the beginning, it connects everyone with no problems of technologies. FIWARE is an open data, and of course it is a standard. It's a standard. So that makes that different companies from different countries and also from different continents, North America, Europe, Asia, we could work in the same level without problems of language. We use the same data language. That way, there is no problem to connect any type of devices or any type of systems together.
Thank you, John. Yeah, if you're just joining and you missed the introduction of John's speech where he talks about FIWARE, it's always nice to reinforce the message. Thank you, John.
Thanks to you. Thanks, Val, and thanks, Max.
Yeah, well, what a great project. And it's so important in times of COVID-19 to find solutions to fight the pandemic. And as Franco said before, reopen our countries and grow business again. Thank you two so much for being with us today and sharing this great success story. And yeah, we hope we see you soon, and stay healthy, and see you then.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Keep safe.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.